Alright, hey guys, Ghost here this time, talking about my modded original Xbox and the journey that I had to take to get this thing up and running. As you guys know, a few weeks ago I uploaded a video showing off my modded Xbox with a Xenium and 2TB hard drive, and that was basically all I did to it. But I wanted to explain the story of it. So, about 6 months ago, more towards the summer, I went to a local game shop, like a game store, and they had an original Xbox, and I was like, hey, I'm already turning in like 15 games, I might as well get an original Xbox. And so yeah, I was looking around the store, and I had like rare games like Drill Dozer and stuff, and I was turning those in, and just overall, like, it's, I don't know, like, I was looking around for like a bunch. I was like thinking about yeah, and I was like, you know what? And the reason I wanted to get it is because my dad, he used to, when I was like really young, he used to have a X3 chipped Xbox with a LCD in it and stuff, and it was just like the coolest thing ever. And basically, what happened is he sold it when I was like 7, I think. And I always wanted to play it again because it was my first console I ever played. But unfortunately for me, I didn't get one until about 2015, which is my first one. Also, that's my phone. Sorry. But basically, what happened is I went into a Discord. I talked to this guy named Razor. You guys may know Razor. You guys know I joined my Discord. He's the cool tech advisor of me. You know, he's my tech advisor. He was basically just talking about stuff in a Discord, and I was like, so can you help me with my modding? And he was like, sure. And I asked him a bunch of questions. I basically told him I want a Xbox that I can dump my games onto. And at first I didn't even realize that you could dump games onto an Xbox. I thought you had to literally play them on disc. But, you know, the Xbox was ahead of its time, I guess, in many ways. It was basically like a PC, so he figured out for me. He was like, so would you rather have a Aladdin or a Xenium? And I was like, I want a Xenium. And so I got a Xenium. Me and my dad, we soldered it into the board, got it all set up, and then, this is where it gets interesting, I put a new hard drive in. I didn't realize you needed another cable in there, which is a 80-pin cable, but I had a 40-pin cable, so I was having issues with the hard drive speed matching up with the Xbox. Gosh darn it, bro. My phone keeps going off. I'm reading up my phone. But basically what happened is I had the wrong cable, and it was saying that that the Xbox needed service or whatever, and I asked him, and he was like, oh, you need a different BIOS. So then I got Evox, if you guys know what Evox is. It's more a video that's me nerdy and very nerdy about it. But yeah, Evox, I had a pre-built version of Evox that I had no idea was in it, and it turns out that version was not the best version that I could have had. And I tried to make my own version, but Windows 10 doesn't support the file thing for it, so that was a big oof with it. So then I just had it for a while. I was like, that's only showing 200 gigabytes. I have a 2TB hard drive. What? And then I talked to Razor, and he was like, oh yeah, you need a F and G BIOS, which if you guys don't know what that means that it has an F and G partition. Original Xboxes have partitions. It has C, E, F, and if you really have the good one, you have G, F and G, which F and G is usually the biggest partition that you have your games and stuff on. As I have mine sub as, but Evox, the version of Evox that I had did not have that. So therefore, I had to ask Razor. I was like, "Yo, man, can I have your help here?" And he was like, "Sure, man." And I was like, "Okay." It took me a while to get it changed though. It required a janky setup. I wish I had a picture of it. I don't have a picture of it anymore. It was basically like my Xbox on an office chair in my office, with a cord going from the router all the way across the room to my Xbox. Then my Xbox having an HDMI cable coming out of the back of it, which I don't have an Xbox HDMI, I just use a pound adapter, but it had that going all the way across the room to the TV, because there was only one plug available and it was across the room, so I had to do what I had to do. And the whole top was off the Xbox. My hard drive was out of there, and it was just a journey. And I remember it was like one of those cool things that you can accomplish, and you know you can accomplish, and it's just overall really good. I just like that feeling of fixing stuff, and that's just how I fix stuff and stuff. But basically, I'm gonna go back to the 40-wire cable. So how I fixed the 40-wire cable, which is gonna lead into the next BIOS that I put in. The 40. My dad has a bunch of old PCs in my office room in my house, and it's like one of them was like an old gaming PC from 2005, and luckily he had a cable in there, which was a 80-pin cable, so I didn't have to buy a new one. The only problem was it was the other way around, so I had to like kind of wedge it in there. Probably not the best thing to do, but it works. So it's just kind of bunched up in there, not very cleanly, but yeah. So that's the story of that. But then back to the BIOS. So when I asked Razor, I was like, Razor, can you build me a BIOS? And he was like, sure, because he runs Windows 7, I think, on his computer. And basically what happened was I was like, I want to have custom everything. And he was like, okay. And then I was like, he built it for me. And since then we've become really close friends. You know what I'm saying? Because we basically just have like a common interest, which is original Xbox modding, and he's like in all the Discords. I'm in all the Discords. Just a thing. This story is going way longer than I expected, but it's worth it because I'm gonna have Razor's link in the description. You guys want to go check his channel out? He does a lot of cool stuff on his channel. Some of the stuff that I cannot even understand, modeling for Jedi Fallen Order and stuff. That man is so talented, and yeah. But another detail that I wanted to do is the BIOS that I chose was IND BIOS. What was it? It was one of the ones that's more stable. There's many versions of it. One of them is stable, one of them is not. Some of them have issues and stuff. And before that, I tried to install it from Hexen. Hexen is like a recovery CD for the Xbox. It's basically similar to what they used at the Microsoft repair centers and stuff back in the day. I think don't quote me on that, but I think it's one of those. And so I tried to install it from there, and it said install failed, install failed, install failed, and I was like, what's going on? And then I realized the Xenium has a BIOS locking feature, so you can't mess up the BIOS, which I appreciate. But it meant that I had to pull out the janky setup again and get it back in there, and it was just a complete mess. But luckily, it did start working, and I now have a Halo 2 startup where it starts up and it's just got the Halo 2 logo, and then it starts up and it like has the legendary logo, and it's actually sick. Also, another thing, I also installed a theme for, what is it called? Unleash X, that's what it was. I installed a theme for Unleash X, which is a Halo theme. So my Xbox is basically an internal Halo. I wish I could get the outside shell. This will be a thing that I'm gonna try to do in the future, is try to get a Halo Special Edition Xbox. Then basically take the shell from it, put my Xbox in that shell, and then just kind of swap them, and then just have a regular Xbox, and then the Halo Special Edition modded. But yes, so that was that, and then I also installed XBMC and a few homebrew things that Razer sent me, and a few patches for widescreen and stuff, which was really nice because original Xbox games don't really have widescreen or 720p support, even though like some games support 1080i, which is really odd because that didn't really come to popularity until the 360, which I know like that's kind of sick. But yeah, so that was my basically short little story of how I got a hold of my Xbox, modded it, met some friends, and everything. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys in the next one. Bye!